A show based on the facts, honesty, the man, the myth, the legend. ChristiTutionalist Joseph M. Leonard.
Welcome to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast, aka CTP, in association with thelibertybeacon.com. And I am your host, Joseph M. Leonard, and that's L-E-N-A-R-D. CTP is your no muss, no fuss, just me, you, and occasional guest type podcast. I really appreciate you tuning in. As Graham Norton would say, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everybody. Before I introduce the guest, but if you're a regular to the show of ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast or Savaged Unfiltered, that he's kind enough to let me co-host, many times you know me there as Jokester Joe. But I will, of course, officially introduce him, but many of you recognize him already. For the BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, and YouTube behind-the-scenes video, though, I wanted to point out my T-shirt, which says, "What are you looking at?" with a question mark. And, I don't mean that in a, how it can be taken. It's a promo shirt for a local TV station that they were giving away. I'm not going to mention the station. I don't watch them all that often, but yeah, obviously I was willing to take a free T-shirt.
There you go.
And I can use it for this show and promote the BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, YouTube, behind the scenes sneak peek videos, right? What are you looking at?
What are you looking at?
BitChute, Brighteon, Rumble, and YouTube. It should be at J. Leonard Detroit channel for the ChristiTutionalist Politics BTSSP shows. At any rate, welcome to the show again, Savaged himself, Michael Gardner, to talk about his book. This is going to be kind of a short show, brief show. He's got somewhere else to be, as do I, and he's been on the show a few times already. So this show's going to talk about his book. Welcome to the show, Michael.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I got a show I got to kind of depart to around like 11:40, which happens to be through the Zoom network, so I don't really have to go into my settings. I could just copy and paste the other Zoom link into the other broadcast, so hopefully I don't have to spend another 10-15 minutes doing that. But yeah, man, thanks for having me.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. Yeah,
good to have you again. And that's a little behind the scenes there that Michael, aka Savaged, with his show, he uses usually Restream or sometimes StreamYard or whatever other.
We're not on StreamYard anymore. No, I had to send that pack in that show. Yeah. They don't have my QR codes for my sponsors and my plugs, so that's why I don't do StreamYard anymore. Yeah.
But Michael's Savaged Unfiltered is indeed a more upscale, high production outlet show. So he uses those online studios, whereas me, as I've said several times, low key, you're no muss, no fuss, low key operation here. I use Zoom to cheat.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not cheating. I mean, a lot of podcasters, I mean, they're doing the Zoom thing, right? They're doing hell, I even see people doing Riverside FM, and
that's horrible.
Oh God, it is horrible. It takes like sometimes 12 to 15 hours just to get a clip downloaded. I don't know what kind of software they decide to use, but guys, get your stuff together. I was on a show like about a couple months ago, and I was trying to get some clips because you can create clips with it, and I'm like, I'm waiting. I go, we go back to the email because everything gets sent to the email, right, Joe? You go back to the email, and I'm like, all right, refresh. Where's it at? It's not there.
Yeah.
We try doing that with the downloading the X Spaces, because you can download the X Spaces, with other software through like Lychee and all that other stuff. And it's like 5-7 hours later, oh, your download has been successfully available. I'm like, it was like 7 hours ago.
Yeah. Well, I said that because we spent 10 minutes waiting for you to go through all your settings because indeed for those online rooms, and I've had trouble being on your show and others at times, like with Restream, it doesn't want to cooperate with the headset or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And you have to change your settings every time you go back to Zoom, change them back when you go to those services. And then I was going to say the other thing, and now I forgot the other thing.
Yeah, I wish Zoom had the same thing like Restream, man. Like where the settings are right on the bottom and it's just a snap of a finger. It's a quick fix. Here you got to go through like audio, and then you got to make sure you're connected to like either Wi-Fi or you're hardwired in. It's like, come on, guys. You know?
I remember the other thing is you mentioned sound bites, clips. Buzzsprout, thankfully, where this show is housed, is real easy at grabbing a visualized sound bite, so you could share it as audio or a video clip where they have the name of the show, the title of the clip, and the audio wave, so that you can cheat and put them on. I do Vimeo. I have a Jay Leonard Wyandotte channel because Jay Leonard Detroit.
Yeah, I seen that. We're on Vimeo too, and I seen like a clip and a few videos of yours. I'm like, wow, Joe's on Vimeo. Cool stuff.
Yeah,
man.
and I'm normally at Jay Leonard Detroit everywhere, but that's been banned at Vimeo for whatever God knows reason. So I created a Jay Leonard Wyandotte account on Vimeo, and they only allow limited amount of video space for their free account. So I just share the CTP soundbite clips there.
Yeah, sooner or later, they're not going to be able to find you, Joe. You got to keep on changing your names around, when they keep on shadow banning you, man. Grief. Yeah.
At any rate, you're all that aside, which is great, some wonderful behind the scenes podcasting stuff for people that are interested, but you're here for your book. So that's now that we're almost, 10 minutes in, what's the name of the book?
Yeah, I got my little timer here to keep track on time, which I normally don't do, but I live on savage time. I don't live on reality time. But anyway, I decided to come out with a second book to kind of piggyback and continue the story from my first book, America's Political Warfare, Our Modern Civil War, which is still available, guys, on Amazon. You can grab that in both formats, ebook and as well as the soft cover. But I decided to come out with the second book towards that through a savaged America, because we're seeing that, Joe. We're seeing that left and right. And a lot of what I put in the book, you're seeing that firsthand today in society. And the story in the book goes back to a little bit of, when Donald Trump came in, you've seen the beginning of the radicalization, not through his presidency, but just a lot of people that were just upset with his winning in 2016. That's when the very start of the radicalization scene, or as it was seen firsthand, like the riots, the mayhem, the chaos, and you're still seeing it to this day. And he's not even president anymore. So there's a lot of that I cover in my book. I cover, because people, I've gotten questions, Joe. People are like questioning, like, what came up? Or how did you come up with the title, Through a Savaged America? I said, I think the title explains what you're seeing in the country very accurately. You're seeing the mayhem, you're seeing the chaos, you're seeing the riots, you're seeing the full insurrectionists, that are committing the crimes against our country. They're hijacking our Constitution, and it's a damn shame. It really is.
Yeah, the burn, loot, murder crowd. As I share a meme all the time, the Democrat Party promoting violence for more than 200 years. Slavery, segregation, keeping blacks out of schools. Now the mobs are anti-Semitism, keeping Jews out of college from being able to go on campus. So the left violence has been here for hundreds of years.
Oh, yeah.
Never going to go away. But I joke about your book title. And
why is that?
Through the Savage Door. You heard me say that before. Now, adults, this is normally a family-friendly show. If there are young kids, cover their ears for the next minute or so, because I joke, I kind of pornitize it, right? Like Behind the Green Door, that really old porn film. If you're not into porn, I think most people still understand and have heard that title, as well as that other one with the devil in whatever, Mrs. Jones or whatever. I mean, because they're old classics. Goes back to the Larry Flint Hustler Supreme Court ruling free speech days. So people are usually aware of it. So yeah, I kind of jokingly pornitize it and call it Behind the Savage Door instead of behind or Through the Savage America.
Yeah, I see where you're going with that. Yeah, but the reason why I, through a savaged America, I get where the door comes from, right? I was actually gonna, believe it or not, I was actually gonna call it through a savage door, right? But originally, that was the original title. But then as I was writing my book, my second book, and then, going through the content and the material, I'm like, well, if I label it Through a Savage Door, no one's going to know what the hell it means. Or they're going to be like, what the hell is this? Like I had to put America at the end because, I mean, through that savage door, yeah, it does make sense. But I thought about putting America at the end because that's what fits the title a little bit better, because you are seeing a savaged America. And through a savaged America, at the end, I don't want to give too many leaks, guys, but at the end, I leave a part of the chapter in that book where how we can avoid going through that savaged America and even further. You know what I mean? Like, so that's kind of why I put it together.
As they say, no press is bad press, right?
Exactly.
So I'm using that as a joke and name association in a way, right? So all those perverts who are into porn can relate to your book.
Oh God. Well, I don't want those sick, what I'm reading. But I mean, if they do, they do. I mean, I can't stop them, but
you've got to reach every audience. If we are to roar, and I've said this on Savage Unfiltered many times.
Oh God, countless of times.
I don't mean Katy Perry fanboyism, softcore porn of the Roar video, which is a great song. It's really kind of a follow-up or homage to Helen Reddy, I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar. But roar, hashtag ROAR, as in hashtag Restore Our American Republic. If we're to do that, we need to reach a lot of different people, not just preach to the choir.
Yeah, and that's why I encourage, a lot of people that are getting into books, such as yourself. I mean, you're an author, Joe. You got books out. You got your Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You book out, along with your other books. But I encourage other people, write books. It's good to, speak behind a microphone like this, and it's good to get your voice out, but just think of your voice in words on that reach.
Right.
Because it can reach countries like other countries besides the United States, and it can wake people up to understand the tension levels.
Exactly, which is why my second international book of 5 now available, even though I hold multiple dozen copyrights. 5 I shouldn't hold up 2 hands. 5 fingers on one hand. 5 international books. The second one of which, because even you on your show, you said, "Well, just come back and talk about writing and publishing rather than the book." So I wrote how to write a book and get it published, hints, tips, and techniques, because there's a million books out there about how to put your book on Amazon. Well, that doesn't answer how to come up with a book, how to develop the book, character development, scene development, all those things, then actually publishing, and then you're not done marketing and promoting afterwards. And if you're not looking to write a book, like Michael's saying, writing social media, you're writing, well, you know what? If you post to social media about different topics over and over, here's a tip. You can take your social media posts and put them in chapters based on the subject.
Yeah.
Bam, 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 bam,
yeah,
bam.
I mean, you can take the shortcuts.
You got a book.
Yeah. You can take the shortcuts. And don't get me wrong, guys. You see a lot of authors today that are using the shortcuts and the cheats through like the AI and everything else. And that helps. That cuts down a little bit of the length of writing it, right? Versus the old way of taking, sometimes maybe 6 months to a year, sometimes 2-3 years writing a book. The AI cuts it down so quickly for you, but it's not original.
Yeah, I don't agree with using AI. AI to me is a cheat.
It's a cheat, yeah.
It's not your work. If you do that, you better put a disclaimer at the front of your book.
Oh, yeah, they'll be coming after you.
AI was used in the development, not just to be honest, but to protect yourself, because the AI engages in plagiarism and copies and pastes.
They do that with our podcast publishing too. My producer, when we're about ready to publish it onto Spotify, which is my main hosting domain, guys, there's a little disclaimer on the bottom now that Spotify podcasting network uses. Was this recorded generated through AI? And it says that, and you have to click the box, yes or no. And if you don't click it, then what it's going to do is it's going to, as it's being processed and stuff, which usually takes about almost like an hour for Spotify to do that. While it's processing, it will actually almost fact check the entire recording. And if it senses any type of AI technology, the little check mark will go on the bottom.
Yeah.
You can't avoid it, Joe. It comes right in. Yeah.
YouTube does that now. When I upload a behind the scenes sneak peek of a ChristiTutionalist Politics episode, there's a box. Was AI used in any way during this show? Yes or no?
Yep.
Is AI used to generate a likeness or impersonate anyone during the show, right? Yes or no? So that's cheating. Please be honest.
I do include a little bit of the AI even in my second book, because I do see some forms of savagery and radicalization, and I use that term a lot on my show, radicalization and savage, because you are seeing that through the AI. You're seeing that through certain parts, not all of it. I've noticed some clips and some video images, even on Twitter X, which I have a heavy presence now on, and everything is it's AI is being used to target certain algorithms and narratives, and you got to be careful with that.
Yeah,
you really do.
Well, my point being is AI. A disclaimer in your book if you've used it at all, because again, AI is borrowing, is plagiarizing things without accreditation. And if you use it just acknowledging AI gave this to me to protect your own hindsight, if it's been lifted from something else and ChatGPT or whatever doesn't give the proper accreditation,
it's all over the place too.
You need to cover yourself legally because you've then plagiarized.
Yep. And I mean, we have to watch. I mean, like we're on this Zoom network now, and I'm looking right on the bottom, and I notice it says AI companion. It's all over the place. I mean, I'm Zoom. It's on. Restream is starting to kind of use it a little bit. I've noticed, but it's just, I don't know, man. But
let's get back to what we're here for.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
I don't want you to give spoilers, but can you give us some chapter titles?
Yeah, sure. Well, I get into a lot of the mainly in the book. It's covered through Joe Biden's presidency, from the time he took presidency on up to right about current time. I don't want to go too far in because then people look at me and are like, oh, he's a time traveler. but no, I cover
that's funny.
Yeah, I cover a lot of the deep state. I cover a lot of the corruption. I cover a lot of, the mishandling of the voting process of when he was first kind of sworn in, going back into the transition phase of Donald Trump and Joe Biden's presidency. I look at the differences between both of them. With the corruption you're seeing now under Biden versus an entirely different type of an administration under Donald Trump. Okay. And I put that in very accurately, but I wanted to watch my words too with that. Not that I wanted to pander to anybody, but, I wanted to explain to them that, I'm not a Trump cultist by me writing this book, but I'm also showing the flaws as well too with Donald Trump, because there are some flaws that I leave in there. But it's a book, Joe, that I decided to write, and it's a necessity. Excuse me, get my words together. It's still early in the morning for me, but it was a necessity to write this book because, again, going back to what I said. We have to encourage more books out there because you know that they're trying to erase history in our country. By erasing history, they're going to books like myself and yours and countless others. They're trying to erase that. So the next generation, when they go to pick up my book or your book, 20, 30, 40 years ago, if Amazon still exists, then I think they will because of the market that it's going into. That won't be available because they'll try to censor that. You know how the censorship, and I get into censorship in my book very heavily.
Yeah, like you said, though, and we put it in print. It's hard unless if you round up all of them and burn them, they're in hard print to see for all posterity. And yeah, jokingly, you deal in the here and now. You don't do any procrastinating. I mean, prognosticating, like my recent
my words, man. Yeah.
Just joking around, right?
Yeah, I hear you.
No prognosticating there. Yeah. No, it's not savage dramas, not to
I get you.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. For those who don't know, Nostradamus, I'm referring back to there. But I just recently had a show, Speculations and What If.
I seen that. Yeah.
About going forward. You're not doing that in here. You're sticking with the from now back.
Well, I beg to differ a little bit. There is some speculation, a light speculation in the book. I do leave that open as a spoiler to where our country can go with the speculation. I leave that open to the reader to figure out, all right, well, where's this book going to go and where's our society going to go from there?
Right.
Which I was taught by other authors. I do know authors, guys, and they told me, there's nothing wrong with leaving speculation in books because it opens it up a little bit more.
Yeah. But that's the main point here. History. If you
exactly.
don't understand where you've been, how the heck is it you think you know where you're going? And past action is indicative of future behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Usually, right? Behavior. Now I'm stuttering and stammering like Joe Biden.
You're pulling a Biden. It's okay.
But yeah, that's the point of this book.
Yeah.
People with blinders, hear no evil, speak no evil, see no evil, right? You've got to know what was to understand what is likely to be.
Yeah, that's
course.
Yeah, that's the radicalization that I'm trying to present. When we speak about evil in this nation, we're labeled extremists. when the evil that we're trying to voice out is coming from the evil itself, right? So aren't they the extremists rather than us?
Projection. The evil
Pretty much
has to project. They have to lie. Like I've done shows and thelibertybeacon.com pieces. The left need to twist and warp language so that, because they can't be honest about what they stand for. And they have to project, accuse everybody else of what they are and what they're doing. And at any rate,
that's why I wanted to come on your show. I know it's going to be a quick little wrap around here, guys, with the episode, but I wanted to choose Joe here for ChristiTutionalist Politics podcast is because I value Joe now as a podcaster. I value his content, and what other show would not be great, to air this and promote this than your show, Joe. So you're like my very first show promoting this. If you guys want to learn more about the book is available. The ebook actually is available right now in pre-sale. It's going to be available for another maybe 15 days, 20 days. The actual release date right now is the ebook. We're trying to get the soft cover in pre-sale. We're having some issues. So we have to go back to the format with the soft cover, but not to worry, guys. By the time this episode probably airs, because I know Joe does a lot of that, in the behind the scenes, you will see the soft cover and the ebook within the same format on the same panel there on Amazon. So right now, guys, the ebook is available in pre-sale for $5. The soft cover will be available for $10.99. That's going to be the listing price on Amazon, and that should be available in the next coming days. Yeah, not next 2 days.
And $10.99 with Biden-inflation going on and Bidenomics.
Hell, that's a hell of a deal.
It's a good price. Yeah, I try to write my books also. They get long, and I cut, scale them back so I.
Yeah, we were having problems with the format, so we gotta go back there later on today. I know Shaky and a couple other people that helped me out with it as well too. We're gonna go back to it today. We're gonna look at the format. The format worked great for the ebook, but it's something wrong with the soft cover. So we have some tweaks that we're gonna do, but not to worry, guys. Both of those formats will be available on July 25th, which is the official launch date of both formats, ebook and softcover.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Ed Bondarenka, and I host Your American Heritage on Saturdays at 2 in the afternoon on this station. Your American Heritage is a show about the struggle we find ourselves in and how to react to it in the light of our biblical and American heritage. Listen to it while you're working around the house, the garage, cleaning the guns, walking the dog, driving, or just lazing around. Join me at 2 o'clock Saturdays here on Wham Radio, 1600 AM, 92.7 FM.
God bless America.
Yeah. But my point here being is you and I both have a lot of past and present material. We could write a War and Peace 800-page book, but it would cost a fortune. So we know in these tough times to try to scale things down a bit so we can offer at a reasonable price. Because the point is, to reach people. And if you've got a $30 book, you may sell some copies, which may be great for your bottom line. But part of this process is reach as many people as possible.
Yeah,
we've got to have a reasonable price to do that.
Absolutely, especially in these times, as we kind of close it out. Like I was going to up the price to at least 20, but I'm looking at Shaky, which is also my partner here on the show, Savage Unfiltered, and we're like, we keep it up any higher, people are not going to afford to buy the damn book, especially like you just said, the inflation. Keep it low. Now, don't get me wrong, the quality of the book that I wrote, guys, is probably worth about $20, $25. The quality of it, the material. But I mean, I'm not creating books, Joe, to to make money off of it.
You're not
just
in
first.
this to become rich.
Exactly. I'm doing this to inform people and educate people, to wake them up, because I want to save my nation. I'm doing it behind my microphone, but I also want to present it in books as well, too.
Which is why I do this show and why I do my international books. Exactly.
Absolutely.
Terror Strikes Coming Soon to a City Near You came out at a $19.99 price point, and that was higher than I wanted it to be. But, I went through a publisher. It went through Ingram Sparks. So others were involved and kind of helped insist on that price point. Whereas now that it's been out a while, you can certainly find it marked down for far less, more reasonable, thankfully. So if
we're going to have some more books coming out. Like Joe was actually questioning me, guys, with my books. I've spoken to him privately, and we do have a comical book coming out in August, which is another couple months from now. And then we have a more or less a documentary book that's in the process right now. That both of those books are in pre-production. I'm still writing them. The comical book, which is going to be labeled Cousin Saul, The Adventures of a Jewish Man from Queens, which is more comical. If you guys pay attention to me on X, in a lot of the spaces, I bring that comical personality to me in that. So I'm actually putting that in a book.
Yeah.
Then we have a documentary coming out in October, which is going to be titled Shockcaster. And that's going to be about everything of how I came up in the business through terrestrial radio into podcasting, which I highly suggest you guys check out. If you want to know the man behind this microphone, it's all in the book. Yeah. And you can kind of check out my show, too, because everything about me is also presented 95% of it, guys. I can't say 100% because 95% of it is in the podcast. The other 5%, well, I leave that up to the guest, but 95% it's me.
And my point here being someone's first book, it's like the saying, too many chefs in the soup spoil the soup. Yeah, it's someone's first book. Usually there's a whole lot of other people involved with their hands in it. So it lands up running up the cost. Whereas now, like, you and I are pretty much fully self-publishing ourselves, which cuts out middlemen and other factors and helps us keep that book cost down for you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. At any rate, I know I want to make sure you've got enough time to get ready for.
I appreciate that. Yeah. Sorry. I just wanted to come on and kind of, tell your audience about it because we touched back about a month ago on a previous episode. Little teaser.
Slaves to the State Show. If you've not seen that episode, definitely go back to that because indeed that kind of is involved in Mike's book. Michael Gardner, all right? Savaged Michael Gardner is the name
Michael
on
Gardner's my real name, guys. Savaged is my persona through the show.
Yeah, but Slaves to the State kind of related to this book. So I had Michael on as a guest, whereas normally now you all know guest appearances are special drops like this show is going to be.
I appreciate that.
Michael was a guest for the Slaves to the State show back then, and we did tease that book then and that he would be coming back, and here he is. Okay, at any rate, enough of my rambling. Let's give everybody the title again. And
guys, head on over to Amazon.com. Pick up your pre-sale of the Through a Savaged America book, guys. It will be available in 2 formats, but right now, guys, it is currently available in the ebook, listed for $5. The soft cover will be available for $10.99. The official launch date, guys, for the book will be available on Amazon.com. July 25th. Pick it up, guys, and you could see my very first listing there, America's Political Warfare, Our Modern Civil War, and that is available in 2 formats. Really, really good stuff, guys. It's time to save our country. It's time to wake up, and it's time to put the radicalization, Joe, aside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I normally drop my specials as midweek Wednesday specials. But of course, this week, Thursday is the 4th of July. So I'm actually going to hold the show, drop it Thursday on the 4th of July, since your book obviously relates.
Yeah, it relates. There's a lot of material. But other than that, Joe, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. And take it easy, guys.
Thank you for having tuned in for ChristiTutionalist Politics Show. If you haven't already, please check out my primary internationally available book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you. Available anywhere books are sold. If you have locally run bookstores still near you, they can order it for you, or autographed copies are available online direct from me via terrorstrikes.info/shop. Be sure to check out more about today's discussion at thelibertybeacon.com, where my articles drop every Saturday. And let me remind, over time, the fancy high production items will come. But for now, for starters, it's just you as a very appreciated listener by me. All substance, no fluff. No fancy high production intro or inserts, at least yet, just straight to key discussion points. A show that looks at a variety of topics, mostly politics, through a Christian U.S. constitutionalist lens. So again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Take care. God bless. Like and subscribe to ChristiTutionalist Politics Podcast and share episodes. We need your help to grow.
It is a myth that terrorism stopped during COVID. Unfortunately, mainstream media opted to prioritize pandemic hysteria over promoting all news. Terrorism continues. Simply hoping that it doesn't affect you is not a strategy. The new book, Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you, featured on The Author Show, is now available in paperback from bookstores, online, or as an ebook exclusively through Amazon Kindle. Terror Strikes, coming soon to a city near you by Joseph M. Leonard. Order today.